Hello gold farmers, welcome to another Grown Not Farming video. Today we'll be taking a look at a couple of different things. So first of all, I believe that the bags, just any kind of bag really, will end up going up in price for Battle for Azeroth. It is fairly common for the ending of other expansions that bags will just kind of start flooding the auction house, and a lot of people make a lot of gold off of it. I've done this for about 2 or 3 expansions now, and each one I just seem to make a really nice amount of gold. The bags that I don't really recommend farming would be the Hexweave and Embersilk bag, just because they're going to be the most common ones, and you're going to be getting undercut quite a bit. The imbued silkweave, I believe, wouldn't be too bad of a bag to craft. It is a lot like the hexweave and has the 30 slots as well, although they are about the same price. So if you do the imbued silkweave bag, then you'll want to just kind of make sure that you're not getting undercut with the hexweave bags. So I wouldn't really recommend doing that one either, at least if you are on a fairly high populated server. So like most things, the prices of bags will more than likely end up going up, which is actually a really good thing. There will be a lot higher demand because you'll have quite a few returning players along with some new players that are checking out Battle for Azeroth. And as of right now, this expansion is supposed to be one of the best ones. It seems to have the highest hype and a bunch of changes coming to the game. For the bags that I actually recommend that you do farm are the Frostweave bag, because not many people really post the Frostweave bags, and not many people typically farm it either. I am on a fairly high populated server though, so there will always be people like what you're seeing now who just craft a ton of them and post them all at the same price, although that will change when it gets closer to time for the launch of Battle for Azeroth. There are a couple of bags that require a little bit more effort and time to actually craft them, which I actually believe there's only one of them, and that is the Royal Satchel. This is the Windwool cloth, I guess, bag that you can craft. It actually takes the Imperial Silk, which is on a daily cooldown. You can only make one of those a day, unless if you have 3 of your Spirit of Harmony. I don't really recommend that you use the Spirit of Harmony, because then you'd be losing gold if I am correct. The Royal Satchel takes 12 of the Imperial Silk, so what I would recommend you guys do is just try to remember to use this daily cooldown. That way you can craft a couple of those by the time Battle for Azeroth comes out. So many of you are probably wondering where some of the best locations would be to farm the materials for those bags. Thankfully, I am going to go ahead and try something new, and hopefully you guys will like it. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my favorite locations and some of the best locations to farm some of these cloths. Again, I do expect a lot of people to make a decent amount of gold off of farming these bags. You'll have a ton of people just wanting to go ahead and try to get some of the best bags you can. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys, starting off with the Sumptuous Fur. My clip for the Sumptuous Fur got corrupted, and I don't quite have enough time to go back and redo it, though many people do fortunately already know this location, so I don't really have to necessarily be there to show you guys. Although that is what I'd hoped. Hopefully this will work for you guys just as well. For Sumptuous Fur, you'll want to head to Nagrand, and it will be right here at the very beginning of Nagrand. And you can get a ton of Sumptuous Fur. I do see the Hexweave bag being one of the top sellers, however, so I do recommend trying to sell a different bag. The Embersilk bag will also be just as popular possibly, and a lot of people will probably eventually start trying to farm for the Embersilk cloth. It is a little difficult to craft if you don't quite know how to manipulate the materials that you are getting, and it could be a bit costly as well. I will go ahead and show you guys my Windwool farming location. For Windwool cloth, you guys will want to go ahead and head over to Northern Barns. The biggest reason I suggest this is because these mobs drop a pet as well, and the Royal Satchel is a bit more difficult to craft than the other bags, so you can have a chance of making a little extra gold off of the pet if it happens to drop for you. You can also farm the top part of Northern Barns as well, but my favorite so far is just right around here underneath the sledge pen. As far as how much Windwool cloth you can get, I am not entirely sure, but you can get quite a bit of it within an hour solo farming, quite a bit more if you do a group farm. These mobs are on a forced respawn. I will go ahead and head over to my best Embersilk farming location. I do recommend that you farm that one in a group as it yields better results. For Embersilk cloth, you guys will want to go ahead and head over to Oldham, and this location is actually inside of the Obelisk of the Moon. For those who aren't sure exactly where the entrance is, I believe it's actually right here where this obelisk little thing is. You will want to go ahead and disenchant all of the greens that you get here. That way you can have a little bit of the hypnotic dust for the Embersilk bags. You get enough Embersilk cloth here that you will want to go ahead and craft the two different recipes. You can just use one of them, but there are two crafting recipes that usually only take 2 of the Embersilk bolts. You will want to craft a good amount of those. Just don't use all of your Embersilk cloth. What I usually do is I try to make an even number, so I will try to have as much of the hypnotic dust as I will have for the Embersilk cloth. You will go ahead and to disenchant all of those greens once you craft them all, and you will get quite a bit of hypnotic dust from that as well. That way you don't really have to worry too much about buying any. There's a huge problem with hypnotic dust, and it costs on average around 40 gold per unit, which is very pricey. This makes the Embersilk bags pretty costly, although you're not really losing any gold, and you're not really profiting much from them either. So it's just kind of a courtesy thing to do, unless if you are on a server where you can actually make a profit from it, and your hypnotic dust is cheaper than most other servers. I'll go ahead and share with you guys my Frostweave farming location. For Frostweave cloth, you guys will want to go ahead and head on over to the bombardment. There are other locations here located inside of Ice Crown, such as the contenders that also yield a decent amount of Frostweave cloth, although I really like the bombardment because the mobs are always up and you don't have to worry about them respawning or anything. What you'll want to do with the greens that you get here, you should be able to get an average of 70 greens an hour by yourself, which is really nice. You will go ahead and want to disenchant those. If you don't have a enchanter, then hopefully you have a guildmate that can help you with that. You need the dust to craft the imbued Frostweave cloth, and you need 6 of the imbued Frostweave cloth to craft the Frostweave bag. Out of all of the bags that you will be crafting, the Frostweave will probably be the easiest to obtain, mostly because it takes the least amount of cloth and all of the materials are very readily available. I would go ahead and show you guys a netherweave location, but really any location that drops netherweave cloth is pretty much good to go. But I would actually recommend you farm Karazhan because you have a chance of getting some pretty decent transmog items there and a couple rare recipes and all of that. So if you are after netherweave for the netherweave bags, then that is the location that I would recommend. Although the netherweave bag is the cheapest out of them all and not really worth a whole lot, so I wouldn't focus on selling the netherweave bags or farming netherweave solely for the whole netherweave bag. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content.